Episode 43 of the Uncovering Anomalies Podcast. Hopefully you're kissing that mic.
Yes, I am. I'm kissing it right now. We never actually we did once. We went through we had beats going. Do you remember that for the intro? Not intro, for the trailer. We had beats going.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I finally Spotify, when I was setting up a show, it's like, oh, we usually recommend your latest show as a trailer. Would you like to change that? And I did, and I went back to check it, and it hasn't changed yet. It's still episode 13.
I mean, Spotify is kind of weird. Maybe they just take some time to change things.
Yeah,
there's someone on the back end listening to every episode, being like, "Do we really want to do this?" Or
yeah.
Anyway, this is episode 43 of the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. That is, I want to believe Adam.
Hello, everybody,
and I am tippity toppity talkity Topher.
Talkity. There's another T in there. You didn't include it in the text.
No, I didn't. I just came. That was off the cuff.
Off the cuff. Well, nice. Well, good to hear your voice. You sound great. I'm happy that you've had a great week.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention the biggest thing. I'm at my guest house. I'm.
Oh, you are.
Well, I'm babysitting. Well, dog sitting some dogs.
Oh,
that's why I couldn't make it yesterday to the family luncheon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was disappointing. We had some extra pizza and wings.
Oh man. Well, just mail them to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I texted your mom, like, because it was like I woke up at 7 a.m. and I had a text from my friends, and they were like, "Hey, when are you coming over to look after the dogs?" And I was like, "Oh crap! I totally double booked myself." And that's when I texted your mom, was like, "Hey, I can't make it. I promised to look after these dogs."
Oh man, no, that's okay. I mean, dog sitting is important, and I don't know if you're like me, but my personal life, I never put it in the calendar. Like work, everything's in the calendar, everything, because or then I'll forget.
I don't put anything in the calendar ever. I don't even my work calendar is like, I have to check it, because other people put stuff in it, and I'm like, crap, I forgot about that, because I don't put it in the calendar.
They'll send you an invite to make sure you show up. Yeah. I used to do that to my brothers, like personally, because they would like always flake. So I would personally send them invites.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen anymore, but it was funny when it used to happen. We used to call it mandatory hangouts. Maybe I should bring those back.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot going on in the world. Everyone knows the stupid Israel-Palestine thing. I don't think we're going to get into it too much here, because it's really negative, and it just ruins the mood.
And just a really quick note is, the whole thing about the hospital bombing, it's gone back and forth. Is it real? Is it not? Yeah. Did Israel do it? Did Palestine do it? Who knows? There's so much information and misinformation.
Yeah.
Coming out of that area, who knows what's actually going on? But the bottom note is that it's bad, and we're not going to touch on it this week, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so. And there's so many other things going on. I tell you the truth, for 2 days, I didn't want to look at it. I just don't. It just brings me down too much. It's depressing.
Yeah, it's super sad.
Stuff. Yeah, and it could go to something serious, which we've talked about. We don't have to talk about it anymore, but it could get to something very serious. So we'll watch it on that front. But for our purposes, let's stay in the world of UFOs and aliens.
The stuff that makes us happy.
And mysteries. Yeah, exactly. Something that our brains like to contemplate and think about, even though there could be, as the U.S. government says, there could be an anti-government narrative with some people like us, but nonetheless. So here's the Juan. He always shares great stuff on Twitter. I thought this is a great one, a great event.
At Plain, was this Plain Thunder? Plain
Oh yeah,
Thunder
at
56.
Plain Thunder 56. He shares some like he reads a lot. He's always reading, so he'll share whatever he's reading. Basically, is what happens on a daily basis on his account. But here he talks about an archaeological find, a UFO. He says a private sector recovery and subsequent CIA takeover of a UFO buried underwater off the coast of New Jersey. He goes, quote, Pace Setter 2, a Shell Oil Company rig, was drilling 90 miles off the coast of New Jersey when it struck metal 600 feet down. A lowered sonar device recorded a metal object about 50 feet in diameter. All right, not too big. When the object was brought to the surface, all that was visible was a central area on top with small rectangular openings all around. The remainder was covered with barnacles. Once cleaned up, it showed a disc shape complete with original shine. Some key points of what was ensued. Shell oil physicists carbon dated it at 600 years old and not radioactive. Although some commenters said here you can't carbon date metal. Some items found, yeah.
I was just gonna say I've heard carbon dating is nebulous at best.
Yeah, and that right. It's not very accurate
for anything, not just metal.
Yeah. They're using something else now. I forgot what it is, but yeah, you're right. They've moved away from that. Some items found in the craft: handheld cylindrical tube which shot out a blinding ray of light.
A
A
flashlight.
Yeah, exactly.
Grabs a flashlight. Sorry.
Or a lightsaber. A box with a button that, when pressed, caused a metal rod to emerge from the craft and shoot an electrical bolt upwards, punching a hole in the clouds 10,000 feet above. Whoa.
Wow.
Chopper with CIA arrived and took possession of the craft and objects, arguing with Shell execs in the process. So this was from...
That's the most believable thing in this story.
I want to read the comments now. Info from the original official UFO, a 1978 edition, via McGee's The Alien Gene. What are people saying? USO sounds true. Okay. That's a joke.
Another ad. I'm so sick of flipping ads.
Twitter ads, yeah. Very interesting account. Wait, where are the funny ones? They're hidden. Why is X hiding them? A chopper was able to move a 50-foot wide metal object.
That's actually a really good question.
Except you can't carbon date metal. Uh-huh. And 1978 was a great year for this kind of a find. All right, fine. It was still fun to read.
Yeah, I mean it's a really cool story. Also, I know I always bring up movies and TV shows on this podcast. Have you seen The Rig on Amazon?
The Rig?
It's called The Rig. It's about
oil guys.
I mean, it's about a bunch of people on an oil mining rig.
No,
and like off the coast of, I think it's Norway. Anyway, you would love it. It's a really good show.
It's on Prime.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'll check it out. What, one season so far?
Yeah, it reminds me of this story a lot.
Really? So what, they encounter weird stuff out there?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I won't say anything more. I don't want to spoil anything.
All right. Have you heard of this? Now, unfortunately, the interview is in Spanish. It's in Peru. This guy apparently shot a being that was floating in the middle of the Peruvian jungle.
I haven't heard this, or maybe I have.
So
we should read the what's it called, right?
Text. So this guy goes. He used to make
5
jokes.
minutes long. Just sum it up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the sum is he saw these things. He saw these things descending. These beings descending. They were floating. He said that they weren't short either. They were like 6.5 feet tall. He said they ascended down. He said there was originally 3, but then he only saw only 2. He then jumped one of them with a gun and shot. And then when he shot, he saw it ricochet off whatever it was wearing, because he said there was some device that they were in.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reminds me of that other incident in the 60s of those Rendlesham Forest. Not Rendlesham Forest. The one
wasn't Rendlesham.
No, the Virginia one.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Went ping,
yeah.
Ping, 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 ping.
Yeah. So it reminds me of that one. So, but then he got knocked out and he lost consciousness when he shot them. They shot him with something else. Let's go where
De aquí le impacto.
Here I hit it. It was here when I hit it. And then they were already up more or less. They were up about 15 feet, 15 or 20 feet. What did the strange being do to you that lost your conscience? It was the same shot, the same eye shot. I believe that my colleagues would come to support me because they were armed. Because I had just one cartridge, I had one more, but I couldn't shoot because I couldn't stand.
Oh, okay. So
and I was at risk. So I discarded the weapon and the cartridge since I couldn't get up. I was leaving the vegetation because I was inside. Leaving the vegetation. I wanted to grab it, but I couldn't get up. I feel one passing my sight like a laser or a flashlight. Yeah, like a laser. It seemed like a laser hit me. I lost my vision. Hit me straight to the heart. I fell. And I couldn't do anything anymore.
All right, so yeah, I basically
my
made him
up later.
Yeah, so basically made him
paralyzed for
it paralyzed him
temporarily
after he shot it. So this is from who? Ronnie Vernet. He's got a Brazilian flag. The incident happened September 2nd in the Jorge Chavez community near Lago Pacuna in the Peruvian Amazon. I mean, they must see some weird shit. The Amazon is huge.
Well, South America has a very long history of seeing UFOs and having experiences and encounters with aliens and UFOs. So this doesn't come as a huge surprise.
Yeah, and they don't have a national security state like we do. They don't have sensors. They're not always watching their sky. So I think that's why a lot of, and maybe that's why a lot of our people say, well, these things are hostile. And you could tell in these countries that are not protected like we are, they are usually hostile. Although he shot it.
yeah. I was gonna say he was definitely the hostile force in this one.
Do not be deceived, people of God. Okay. All right. So moving on, I thought that was strange, but yeah, like you said, South America has some strange stuff going on.
I think I sent you that. I don't know if we're gonna cover it today, but another UFO that was seen in Colombia.
Oh yeah, yes, that is. We'll talk about that.
Okay, all right.
DARPA is asking $170 billion question about making money on the moon. So we've talked about on the show also with experiences with aliens and non-human intelligences and their civilizations. They always bring up the fact that they don't use money and they've outgrown government. And that's one of the issues with our national security state. They don't want any of that. They want, it's always like, no. It's all about money. So here we are, our government agencies trying to think about how still to have a money system on the moon.
So the moon rush has begun.
Yes.
U.S., Europe, and China are spending billions on plans to return humans to Earth's favored satellite. One big difference this time, according to NASA, is that people are going to stay, bringing the tools to allow for long-term exploration. The other big difference, private companies are playing a much larger role in these missions than they did in the era of Apollo.
So basically, like Musk and those guys, right? Where's that part I wanted you to see? How do you make money on the moon?
Well, we can. I mean, I know this. We can mine the moon for. Is it helium-2?
Yeah, helium-3. Yeah,
helium
or something like that. The 3 one, yeah. Which is an energy source, right? We can use it as an energy source or something. They talk about bank accounts here. Yeah, see, I hear this phrase: $97 billion cislunar economy. How is that turned into money that exists in a bank account? Yeah, okay. So now bankers are not just gonna rule this planet, but we'll take them to the moon as well. And
man, I hope sometime in my day I can just take a trip to the moon. I really do. I'd love to be up there.
Me too.
Just in space, really. I mean, I don't know.
Here they're basically saying that we're going to the moon and we're going to leave people there. That's what's happening next.
Yeah, build a colony, a moon colony.
Yeah. So they're thinking like, what are services on the moon that people pay for? Power and bits and the ability to move stuff. So most of the companies pitching to join the project plan to offer those services, but 3 additional categories arose from the initial proposals. And an in-depth market analysis and buckets focused on taking advantage of lunar resources and construction and robotics. Of course, robotics.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to build a colony on the moon unless it can bring money back to the U.S. Well, to the world. I mean, that's just the way the world works at this point.
It is the way the world works, and that's what they're trying to figure out. What's the ROI here?
Yeah.
How can we pay for this?
What kind of revenue will we achieve if we spend all this money, building a colony on the moon or whatever?
I mean, wouldn't you think tourists' money? I mean, yes, it is expensive.
Well, I was going to say it'd be super. You've got a very limited pool of tourists who'd be able to afford going to the moon.
But if they really get into it, they could make it affordable. It just reminds me of.
We just need that. We need that space elevator going on.
Yeah. They've been talking about that concept for so long.
Oh, so long.
Yeah, I mean, it does make it cheaper. It's just but could you imagine going in that thing? That's like a roller coaster from hell.
Straight. I was gonna say straight to hell.
Do you know? We've talked about the archons before, but do you know that it comes from the Gnostics? Like, do you know who the Gnostics are?
I have a vague.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Gnostics came out. They're Christians, but in a different way. They believe that the Abrahamic God, like Yahweh and even Allah, is not the real God. It's a creator God. That the real God transcends this universe, but that the material, the God that created the material world is an evil God, and that's heresy in the Catholic Church. And they were gone after, I think, for 200 years and killed. But their teachings have remained from the Gnostics. Now, I bring this up because this guy talks about the year 1947.
Who is this guy?
This is Tristan on Twitter at
Deep Fried Guy 76.
Yeah, he shared some cool stuff. Reads a lot, but he shared a book about 1947 UFOs, CIA, and Gnostics, but also about the archons that we are seeing are the archons, which are like, I guess, evil gods, with this creator God in the material world, creator God. So he says here, no matter what one thinks of the Gnostic theory of error and the ET archon connection, it is startling to find a full and coherent account of alien intrusion in ancient documents dating from 400 CE. CE is not BC. That's CE is like AD, right? I think so.
I'm not actually sure.
A textual legacy of knowledge derived from far older origins. It is worth noting that the first great UFO wave of the 20th century occurred in the summer and fall of 1947. And then also in the 1947 was the Nag Hammadi Codex. At the very moment, the first Dead Sea Scrolls were found. Now, the Dead Sea Scrolls also talk about a lot of Gnostic teachings.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the CIA was created as well.
Roswell happened.
That's when Roswell happened. So it's all at the same time. And I did read a book once. I don't know if this is accurate, saying that because the Gnostics were so like killed and like just they were forced underground by the Catholic Church, and that became the Freemasons and the Rosicrucians and the secret societies. Is what I remember reading. Although now if you look at Freemasonry, it kind of has a lot of those teachings, but then it still comes back to, maybe it was infiltrated, but it still comes back to some Abrahamic teachings. So yeah, then this is a good one. It's just a quick one about what's going on.
Everyone in the civilized world.
I don't know when it was recorded, but it's perfect. It's just 41 seconds.
All right, let's give it a listen.
Everyone in the civilized world has roughly agreed, including the majority of Arabs and Jews and the international community, that there should be enough room for two states, for two peoples in the same land. I think we have a rough agreement on that. Why can't we get it? The UN can't get it. The Quartet can't get it. The PLO can't get it. The Israeli parliament can't get it. Why can't they get it? Because the parties of God have a veto on it. And everybody knows that this is true. And everybody knows it. Because the parties of God have a veto on it. And everybody knows that this is true. Because of the divine promises made about this territory, there will never be peace. They will never be compromised. There will instead be misery, shame, and tyranny, and people will kill each other's children for ancient books and caves and relics. Everyone in the civilized...
He's right. I'm sorry. Just because of caves and books, and that came perfectly with that post.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unfortunately, because there's just all these divine beliefs. Is an Iron Dome strikes an object that doesn't resemble a missile at all. Have you seen this one? It's like a UFO.
I haven't. We're looking at another tweet of a video.
Yes, and it's showing a UFO that gets hit, but then it turns into two of them. So he does. He zooms in here.
Wow, this is very bizarre.
Yeah, there was another one, but it turned out to be fake. So this is the one that.
Yeah, it gets hit. And it splits into two. Let's see here. Bonk.
Yeah, it got hit.
Oh, 3.
Yeah.
Just 2, I guess. And it just stopped.
And then it stopped, exactly.
It just stops in midair. Wow.
And that was behind him. So it's not like the reporter's talking about that. He's talking about something else. I think that's all we're going to cover with that stupid war. Oh, Pfizer. Did you see this one?
Yeah, this is so flipping frustrating.
Pfizer issued a press release Friday afternoon stating definitively that mRNA COVID vaccines, quote, show increased risks of myocarditis plus pericarditis. Highest risk are adolescent males. It's inexcusable that thousands of college kids are still forced to get a shot with these known risks. And here it is on Pfizer.
Yeah. I mean, it's just... So the thing that people have been screaming about for years that was called a conspiracy theory is now fact.
Isn't that always the case?
It's always the case. Well, not always. I mean, the Earth isn't flat, but
a lot. Right.
But I mean, it's terrifying. Okay, I sent you this one.
You did send me this one. Let's open it up here. You want to tell us what this is?
So if you scroll up, I want to read the title of it really quick. The Canadian wildfires were created with laser weapons to push climate change so the government can implement a carbon tax. I don't really believe all of that, but if you look at the footage, all these fires started at exactly the same time, which is really, I mean, they've got satellite footage of Canada.
Yeah.
And they all have, like, you can see the smoke trails, and it's not like it's really close in. They're all spread out.
Yeah, it's a huge territory. You know?
And it happens all at the same time, and it's really freaky. I mean, you see the smoke plumes come up, and it's spread out.
Yeah. You're talking about hundreds of miles across.
So, I mean, I'm not quite sure. I mean, I kind of do believe in the laser weapons theory, but I mean, I don't understand. The other option is that you had 150 people going out on walkie-talkies or cell phones or whatever and starting fires at exactly the same time.
Exactly. 3, 2, 1.
Kaboom. Yeah.
Same diameter, everything too, and same amount of smoke coming out.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, I know the words space lasers. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I can't think of another option. I mean, this is I mean, what do you have any alternate theories?
No, it's exactly what it is, and it reminds me of what happened here in California in 2020 during COVID. They got caught actually with, and the lasers were showing. It was a channel called Dutch Sense on YouTube, and he caught the laser actually going. Well, not him, but there was a sensor that caught the laser exactly when the fire started.
Yeah, I remember that. And then plus, everyone's forgotten about Hawaii at this point.
Hawaii,
But it
yeah.
was the same thing that they were seeing lasers up in the sky just before the fire started. So, I guess it's not that far fetched. I mean, this is wild footage to me.
It is, and it's look, the technology is there, the political motivation is there, the financial motivation is there. Like this guy said, it's a carbon tax. It's another tax that you can put on the people.
And this happened when New York was like everyone was posting footage of it being like orange, essentially, like the sky. I mean,
yeah. I mean, look at that. That's irrefutable. I'm sorry, I don't know how you explain that, especially that it just goes off at the same time like that. So yeah, we know the technology is there.
And it's over such a wide range. I don't understand how that would be possible any other way.
I mean, like you said, yeah, you could have 150 people there, but it'll be like kind of random. Even if they have walkie-talkies and they're trying to sync it, why would they sync it anyway?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
All right, so Anna Paulina, she is a congresswoman. Oh, we don't follow her.
There we go.
So she announced last week that just got word that we will be allowed to do the SCIF classified UAP briefing reference to Grush with the IG.
That's pretty cool.
News. Yeah, that's huge news. I don't know if it happened yet, but here he is. He's happy.
I think they're getting the briefing in December, from what I remember.
Oh, so they still have to wait. That's fine. I mean, yeah. But Burchett was on News Nation. Let's take it. He's happy. I'm sure he's going to make some jokes.
News Nation has learned that you and your colleagues will be able to get into the classified SCIF room to look at the UAP documents that you've been trying to get. You had this exchange with whistleblower David Grush about getting into the SCIF back in July. Let's take a listen.
Can you give me the names and titles of the people with direct firsthand knowledge and access to some of these crash retrieval programs, and maybe which facilities, military bases the recovered material would be in?
I can't discuss that publicly, but I did provide that information both to the intel committees and the Inspector General.
And we could get that in the SCIF if we were allowed to get in a SCIF with you. Would that be probably what you would think?
Sure, if you had the appropriate accesses, yeah.
All right, so now you got the access, right?
I'll believe it when I see everything. They're scrambling right now, and they're nervous, and they should be. I know I was wearing my gray suit right there. My wife's going to be on me. So, baby, why don't you wear that gray suit? Wear my gray suit.
When are you going to do this? When are you going to go into the SCIF?
It'll be before Christmas, I believe.
You're right.
It's coming up here in the next couple of weeks, from what I understand. But all those things are kind of subjective to what's going on elsewhere.
Yeah,
of course, in Washington.
I think probably getting a speaker,
because a lot of people are.
Yeah, I imagine so. Very quickly, Congressman, do you go into the SCIF with David Grush, or do you just go through the documents that he has assembled for you?
I believe, first of all, we'll go through with the documents. That would be a secondary thing, which I understand is in the works as well. But from what I understand, there's a lot more than Grush out there. Dave's a buddy of mine, but there's a lot more than Grush out there that have this information, and we're going to get to it. And that's why people are very nervous, and they should be at the Pentagon, because they've been covering this thing up since 1947. And
hell yeah.
Sudden, hey, 55% of America believes that there's something else out there. A major news network like yourself is covering this, so they realize there's money available. They want us to study it now. All I say is bring out the documents. Let the American public decide. You all have been great in the media by keeping the heat on them, and thank you.
Yeah, there's money available. He's so right. It's all they think about is money.
Burchett for MVP.
Wouldn't that be awesome, man? He's been great this year. At least he cares about transparency, and it kind of feels like he's on our side.
Sure hope so. I sure hope it's not some big con. All right, I sent this to you, quote unquote Russian footage of Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and secret spaceship. I take this one with a big grain of salt, but it is really good footage.
It's cool, and it's not like it can't be true, So, and they're not using crazy space vehicles. They're using
ones that
are believable. This was funny. Some of the
based-
comments are like, "I want to meet the first cameraman that went to Saturn."
Yeah. But they've got this footage of crazy UFOs floating around all of these different planets. But I mean, God, if it's fake, it's so well done.
Yeah, it is.
Because that's, I mean, that's I can't remember the name of the valley over Mars, but that's the big one.
Yeah, it's very accurate with that. This is also over Mars. They're still over Mars here, right? I mean, this is called Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. So we're over Mars now. It's showing some crater there. Oh, wait, there's a vehicle.
Yeah.
All right. And then this is Saturn. Why is it doing that? All right. So
I think it's the light. That's
Okay.
what it's supposed to be showing, is like as they come around the planet, more and more of the rings get illuminated on Saturn.
Right. That makes sense. So here's a spacecraft here. We got Saturn in the background. He's in some spacecraft. Looks like But yeah, all these objects. Oops. Uh-oh. All these objects are floating through space. You'd think.
Yeah, I mean it's
That's also Mars.
it's probably fake. But man, I mean, it's really well done if it is.
Someone put a lot of time into doing this. Look at that. And so it's mostly Mars. I haven't seen Jupiter yet. Oh, is that supposed to be Jupiter?
No, that's Saturn.
But definitely, the spacecrafts are weird. They do human. I mean, they look human-like. I mean, not.
I mean, they don't have any like common shape to them. Is the weird part?
No, they're all different. So what are people saying? I wonder. Yeah, who was the first cameraman to ever orbit Saturn? 5 days ago. No one's being serious. Absolute bullshit. If humanity left Earth and left us all behind.
I mean, that's not a far-fetched concept.
No, it's the whole breakaway civilization thing, right? I mean, 30 trillion debt. Where is it? The idea that the Soviet Union or any government would do secret manned missions to the planets is so ridiculous. Can you imagine the massive propaganda win for any? Oh, shut up, dude. So many things are covered up. And just like, I don't understand what disclosure is now anymore. It means like the president of the United States has to come out and say something.
Yeah, you're totally right.
At that point,
that's really quite remarkable.
Oh, so did you see this? So Dolan does an interview with a guy named Luigi Venditelli.
Hey, what country is that guy from?
I think he's Italian. although he's from Montreal, though. But yeah, he's obviously an Italian descendant. But he interviews this Montreal company that they do 3D renderings, and he talks about this new technology that's so realistic. So he got in touch with Bob Lazar, and they recreated everything he saw at S4, everything. And they are releasing a documentary and an Oculus 3D thing that you can go through what Bob Lazar saw.
Oh, I wish my Oculus still worked. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, so this will be out in 2024. But look at the renderings. Some of these things are so cool.
And I have a feeling that listeners and viewers are chomping at the bit. I think they want to see some of these images.
Of course.
And
I'm champing at the bit.
You can jump in and you can discuss these with us. I got your website here. We'll show that also. And I do have a link for that below. That's projectgravator.com. I'll show that in a minute. But how about we just jump in, Luigi, to some of these images. Let me start here. This is all recreated. These are all digital files.
Right.
But so I assume you spoke with Bob about like what did it look like to walk?
Yeah.
You're about to walk into describe this here.
Yeah. So everything you see, although it's, for some viewers, if you say digital file, one thing I want to make explicitly clear, everything is real size in a digital environment, in a 3D digital environment, meaning that if someone were to put VR goggles on, this is real size. So it's not a design on a computer. It's a very, very heavy environment. It's very heavy on the computers.
Oh,
you need
get
super
to it
computers
already.
to make this. So as you walk in this room, this is that infamous security room where there was the hand bone scanner.
Yeah, before we get into that, let me just I just want to point out, because I don't think
I want to see the
I made this very clear. Your team is creating really two products here.
Oh, I think it might be just images.
Yeah.
And then it'll light up.
So this
is the scanner, I think.
That's right. That's the hand bone scanner that Bob had to place his hand there, and there would be a bright light. It would read
here. This is a very realistic looking hallway. I don't know how you. I suppose you just discussed this with Bob. He gave you the description of what it looked like, and
thing you've ever
this
seen.
is your recreation. So he goes to the door, hand scanner, going down the hallway, and then finally we're out into the hangar. I think there's other rooms that you did not show me the visuals of, but you've got other areas here as well.
Right. There's when you're in the hallway, the first thing you see is this very gloomy long hallway with this kind of a bowling green colored cinder blocks on the bottom side. And there's doors on each side, very quiet. He said it was very kind of not a very inviting place, if you want to call it. Very dead, very boring, he said. So there was one of the first things he had to do was go into this small briefing room that is not shown in these images. We'll have it. It will be the disc sitting there on its belly on the ground in this hangar. There were security guards there. There was not many people in the hangar as he walked in.
Take a look. Here's a great shot of it there.
There you go. Yeah, that's
right.
And this
That's
is basic.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the infamous this is the sport model. This is the flying disc that he was able to see up close. And I mean, this was something that he initially wasn't completely understanding. He didn't know what it was. And at a certain point, he was able to identify that there was an American flag on it. It was a reversed American flag that he saw, a sticker of it.
I just want to stop and just look at this beautiful graphic rendering that your team did.
Right.
Yeah,
that's absolutely amazing. And
it's a digital recreation, but it looks really realistic. This is pretty cool.
It does.
This is why I really want. I wish my Oculus still worked. 'Cause I'd love to like walk through this and see this. This would be super cool.
Wouldn't it? What's wrong with it? Did you drop it?
No, so it has to do with a password thing. I don't really understand. I can't log into it.
Yeah, because you have to have a Meta email now, not just your Facebook email.
Well,
something like that.
So I ended up making when I first got it, this a couple years ago now, I guess.
Yeah.
I made a Facebook account because I didn't have one, just to use it.
Okay.
And I used it for a long time, and then one time I put it on my head. I was going to play some Beat Saber.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever played?
I haven't. It looks like great fun though.
It's a lot of fun. Anyway, it wanted me to like put in a weird, like on some phones you like draw a diagram instead of putting in your pen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wanted me to do that, and I've never had to do that, and so I don't know what Anyway, it's just been sitting in my closet for 6 months now.
Dude, definitely get that fixed.
I tried. Anyway,
so it's just a login thing, right?
Yeah, it's just a login thing.
So yeah, here's some more images of that craft.
Looks really good, and here as well.
And that flag, there was a lot of chatter when we were doing research. There was a lot of people that had said, "Oh, it's impossible that he would have seen that flag from that angle if the craft was sitting on its in the hangar. He was walking by it." And I'll never forget when we actually had to do the first official beta testing of our virtual reality in the hangar. By the way, is mind-blowing. Okay. I mean, not because we did that, but it literally blew my mind because it literally looked like we were there. Accurate to every detail. Anytime something was wrong,
let's
Bob
move
would
on
point
to
it
the
out.
next
Okay, wait.
Because we had to make it. I was sitting in one of because on it, you take the hemisphere.
Oh, that's the engine.
Simply disappear.
He talks about the actual propulsion system. But yeah, very cool. We'll link it. People can go see the entire interview.
I mean, it's super cool footage.
It is. Project Gravitor presents an in-depth. Oh, what is Project Gravitor? Anyway, but it's a groundbreaking work of Bob Lazard, Area 51's S4 facility. So they attempt to recreate the whole thing as a documentary beginning of 2024. The Experience, which will be a 3D immersive interactive, that's also in 2024. I mean 2024, and then the book also 2024.
Just as an aside, have you seen any of the Unreal Engine 5 footage that's coming out?
No, that must have just come out. I've not seen any of that.
Yeah, I mean that's that Matrix thing that they did on Xbox.
Yeah. Yes.
That was Unreal Engine 5.
Oh, okay, dude, that's so good. Well, at least when they did the Matrix game, that was amazing. It looked so real.
Yeah.
All right, so that was just a demo. So you're saying now that it's out, or it's going to be out really soon?
I think developers are starting to use it now.
Oh wow, dude!
So stuff that's going to start coming out that's super realistic.
Yes, just in time for GTA 6.
Oh god, I'm still waiting for Red Dead Redemption 3. That's my jam.
Do you think that's going to come out soon?
In 10 years?
Yeah, exactly. It takes them so long to make these games.
Yeah.
So this happened on Weaponized. I'm pretty sure I sent it to you. He was so annoying. The guest was really annoying, but he's a high-level guy, and he came out on Weaponized last week. Of course, he's got a book, so he wants you to buy his book.
Mm-hmm.
Nonetheless, he was in charge of OSAP and ATIP at the Defense Intelligence Agency. Very good friends with Senator Reid. So yeah, let's give him a listen.
Is you're officially allowed to tell us that the United States government has in its possession a craft of unknown origin, and you are able to access the inside. Is that correct?
The wording that you read is correct. You're going beyond the wording.
No, I'm not. I'm asking you, did that meeting happen? And is it true? And it's true.
Yes.
Okay, so you're telling us, you told us, because you were allowed to tell us, that our government has a UFO in its possession and has been able to access the inside of it, right?
Yes.
Well, that's what
I was allowed to tell you. Let me show the back of the book. This is.
I know, but hold up, George. Will you translate, George?
All right, let's try another tack. How do we know it's a craft and not a doorstop? We accessed it. It has no engine. It has no wings. No fuel. It doesn't. We don't know that it travels. Do we know it's a craft, or it's just a rock?
George, you're going into the further discussion that occurred that day.
All right.
We can't go there. But let me tell you, we're going to try to cover that in the future. But it's delicate. It makes the technology described in here look primitive.
Why is it delicate? Why is this topic that the United States government has a UFO in its possession and we've been reverse engineering it? You've admitted it. Why is it delicate?
The details. I'm old school. I won't use the term adversary, competitor as the way we describe. We are surrounded, maybe not surrounded, but hopefully not so, by our enemies. And our enemies, you can be sure they're listening to this show right now. You can be sure that they were monitoring OSAP. You can be sure that perhaps they had employees, hopefully not in GIA, but in the contractor part, that were giving out information. I know that. So the thing is we can't say anything more than what we've been approved to say.
Yeah, that whole interview was so annoying because every question they tried. Yeah, go ahead.
Two things. One, that guy's primary purpose is to sell his book, which is really.
I know that is so annoying.
The second thing is, and I promised I would never talk about this again, but I'm going to. How can no one afford a $20 USB mic?
I know, especially
why do
someone
they
in his
all
position,
talk
right?
on their computer or like at work we've got headphones with a mic attached so we can have
Yeah.
meetings online and doesn't I mean
Yeah,
this is a professional podcast here, not there
there.
They-
I know. At
they
least
can't
send
use-
it to him, right?
they can't use microphones.
I mean, yeah, I know. I don't get it. Like George is. They just got George a light, by the way, and I think Jeremy had to force him. He goes, dude, you have to have a light in front of you. You can't have it in the back. We can't see you. So I don't know what's going on there.
What do they do? These are professional. I mean, they're professional talkers is the word I'll use.
They are. I mean, let's see, how many views did they get on here? I mean, he's got 220,000 subscribers and already got 120,000 views this interview.
He can afford a $20 USB mic. That's what I'm using right now.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. And it sounds beautiful.
Oh, thank you. That's just my voice though.
You're built for this.
I've got a thick throat.
It's the smoking. Although smoking, a lot of those guys back in the days, remember them in the 80s and 70s, and they had these voices like this, and they used to smoke like 10 packs a day. All right, now 10
and
packs.
then they live until 90.
Oh yeah. A lot of those guys didn't even phase them.
Yeah.
Actually, they probably would have died earlier if they quit smoking.
Yeah, you got to keep that nicotine in you at all times.
Yeah.
You don't want to die of nicotine withdrawal.
So that guy we heard, his name's Dr. James Lakatsky, who headed a prior U.S. government investigation into unidentified anomalous phenomenon, UAP, affirmed that the U.S. government possesses a craft of unknown origin and has access to its interior. And he did mention, he goes, it went over our heads a bit, but he said when he picked up the book again, he goes, the technology that craft had is light years beyond what we uncovered in this book. So he's saying what they saw with OSAP and ATIP, whereas nothing compared to that craft he was talking about. And you know, I've mentioned this before. If we were just like we were in the past, like, you know, the whole U.S. empire is really for freedom, and you know, the government was not so corrupt, and I was all for keep it secret, you know, and you know, I kind of still am, but like, come on, guys, give us a reason, you know, to be all for it being secret, because I don't see it anymore. I just don't. You know, you're accusing us of polluting the planet, and that we can't have meat, and that we can't use oil and gas because of climate change. Although you're keeping stuff like this secret, half the world's being blown up by our government. You know, again, how is that such a benevolent government taking care of us? It's obviously taking care of some cabal, mafia type organization, you know, behavior. So, you know, I don't want to see the secret. You know, it needs to be out and given to humanity, because there's too much misery in the world.
Yep, I totally agree.
Yeah. So this guy, he's so old school. You know, it has to be secret. And who's left? I mean, yeah, you would argue that Russia and China are against us, but you know, at some level, I don't even think they are.
Is there a way you think that they could like let us have the technology without letting China and Russia know? Like instead of using planes, we start using giant UFOs and stuff, but we're not like officially releasing technology. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like that. We're using the technology, but not admitting to using it. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Maybe that's shit. Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe that's what Wi-Fi is.
Yeah, but then how come?
But they have Wi-Fi too, so that doesn't make any sense. Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, well, whatever we release, they copy immediately, pretty quickly, and then they use it against us, like we can see in these wars too. Like, you know, when you look at the Russia war in Ukraine, it looks like our war in Iraq in the 1990s, the way they're, you know, utilizing it. So, I think that's what he means by security, is that when we release these things, everyone has them immediately, you know, and what I'm trying to say is I would rather the U.S. rules the world. Is what I'm saying. You know, that system. But we've turned our back on our ideals of freedom of speech and privacy rights, and you know, all these things that we are known for. I feel like we're just not upholding that anymore. So what's the point?
Yeah.
But still, this is a great article about that. about that interview, and he keeps saying, "I can't answer that." When asked by Corbell whether he had entered the craft described within the book, Lakatsky responded, "I can't answer that." Later in the interview, Corbell offered Lakatsky an opportunity to dispute the implication that he had seen and stepped inside the craft. Lakatsky declined the offer.
Not a great interview, as it turns out.
No, it was
From
an
what
hour
I'm
and a
seeing.
half. Right, it was an hour and a half of him saying, "No, I can't answer that." Like, what is the point?
Right.
To sell the book.
Sell the book.
You said,
okay. So this is what I mentioned earlier in the show. So as we've previously mentioned on various episodes, there seems to be some sort of UFO flap happening in Colombia.
Yeah.
We are looking at very clear footage of a UFO in Colombian airspace, of the same type of thing that we've been seeing videos of before in Colombia. It's triangle shaped, not triangle, diamond
Yeah.
shaped craft flying over the airspace. It's clear, it's good footage, it's very interesting.
Well, yeah, let's hear what the audio is saying. Oops.
En Latam nos encanta ser parte de sus celebraciones. Por eso queremos felicitar a una princesa muy especial hoy cumpliendo años. Damos muchas bendiciones.
No one's really freaking out.
No. Anyway, it's footage of a plane flying through the sky, and it seems like someone in a passenger seat is filming through their window, and they've seemed to capture. Wow.
It is really cool footage. Really cool.
Like a silverish, blackish, diamond-shaped UFO.
Yeah.
And it's during the day, so it's super clear.
Very clear. I thought I actually sent you the same URL, this one. I'm like, oh, it's because someone stabilized it and zoomed in, and I couldn't find that. So, but anyway, it is really cool footage. Again, we'll link it up. It's not a plane. You know,
We'll send the footage to our contact in Colombia and see if they've seen anything.
That is so weird that's happening, though.
Yeah.
It's all in Colombia, and he's there.
Now, what's this?
Well, remember last week we talked about celebrities and UFOs.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so this showed up, though, after that.
Read the title. Read the title.
So I stood on the balcony, and there was this big ball of gold light that turned up. These pop stars all had close encounters of the third kind with aliens. This is from the Mountaineer. And I think I wake up one morning, there's this thing. This is John Lennon, because that's Yoko. Here's John Lennon. And he had one. The Beatles legend was so certain he had an extraterrestrial encounter that his 1974 album, Walls and Bridges, included a liner note that read, "On the 23rd August 1974 at 9 o'clock, I saw a UFO," which Lennon signed with his own initials, insisting that he was very straight on the night.
I don't understand how he could be very straight if he's with Yoko Ono. Never mind. That's a bad joke.
They're screaming in the background. On the night of the alleged encounter, he spotted a strange object in the sky outside his New York residence. Speaking with Interview magazine in 1974, Lennon said, "A thing with ordinary electric light bulbs flashing on and off round the bottom, one non-blinking red light on top, around 100 feet away from him." His then girlfriend, May Pang, agreed with the artist, saying, "When it came a little closer, we could make out a row or circle of white lights that ran around the entire rim of the craft."
You know, I didn't know that about John Lennon, that he had a thing for Asian women. I just thought Yoko was like the last one. Anyway,
well, he kind of looks Asian. Look at him. Well, is that because his glasses?
Well, he's a British guy.
Yeah, they do like Asians. Say that. Yes. So you're right, May Pang. That's another Asian name.
Mm-hmm.
Unless, is that Yoko's real name?
I have no idea. I don't know. I'm not going to look into it because I honestly don't care. I just
Sean Ryder. I don't even know who this guy is. Do you know who this is? He looks like a elf.
I don't know who that is. He's got crazy ears though.
A Keebler elf. Robbie Williams. Oh yes, we all know he's into UFOs and aliens. Jimi Hendrix. I didn't know he had, although he was on acid all the time, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So Jimi Hendrix was convinced that he saw a UFO in 1970 during a gig in Maui, Hawaii, which took place next to a live volcano. The musician claimed to have spotted several flying saucers overhead. Still, Chuck Wine's Rainbow Bridge, 1971, included footage of the concert, yet the saucers were ominously missing. Even so, Hendrix and the crowd insisted the incident wasn't a hoax.
Well, we've actually talked about footage before of UFOs and volcanoes, so it's not that far fetched.
It's not. They like going in and out of them.
But you're right. I mean, he was on acid all the time.
He was. David Bowie, not a surprise there. He had his.
David Bowie was an alien.
He was. Yeah, you mentioned that last. That's funny. You mentioned that last week too.
Yeah.
So he said here Bowie revealed that he and his friends would go UFO spotting in London, where they made where they made sightings 6-7 times a night for about a year. He continued, "We had regular cruises that came over. We knew that the 6.15 was coming, 6:15 was coming in, and would meet up with another one." What does that mean? And they would be stationary for about an hour and a half, and then after verifying what they'd been doing that day, they'd shoot off. Huh.
That's pretty crazy.
Keith Richards.
Oh God, man, he looks like a raisin, a white raisin. Look at him. I don't want to disparage anyone. I'm sorry, I'm being mean today.
Dude, speaking of someone that smokes a lot, he smokes a lot. I think he still does heroin, and he's alive. The Rolling Stones guitarist was convinced he witnessed a UFO land at his West Sussex Redlands estate. Oh, he said, "I've seen a few, but nothing that any of the ministries would believe." Speaking to Melody Maker, the rock legend added, "I believe they exist. Plenty of people have seen them. They are tied up with a lot of things like the dawn of man, for example. It's not just a matter of people spotting a flying saucer. I'm not an expert. I'm still trying to understand what's going on."
Well, holy shit. I feel bad for making fun of him because that's the most level-headed take I've ever heard.
I know, right? He's fun. He's easy to make fun of, though. Lemmy, I don't know who Lemmy is.
I don't know who Lemmy is.
Of course, Tom DeLonge.
Tom DeLonge, yeah. We've talked about him enough. Kendrick Lamar, now that's a name that actually kind of surprises me. Famous rapper, for those of you who don't know, but should know he's like one of the biggest names. Well, he was.
Yeah, he is. Oh, he's pretty big. So I guess during an interview with Shock Jock Stern, the artist revealed that he thought he was abducted when he was a child, and that the abduction probably gave him the energy to start a music career. Man, a lot of these guys say that. He added, "Nobody believed me then, and they don't believe me now. I'm going to stand my ground to this." Yes, I did.
Wait, did you read the first sentence?
Sorry, no. Kendrick Lamar claimed he had a surreal experience with an alien at the age of 6.
That's crazy. That's what I went like, oh, about, because that's wild.
That is crazy. And look who else? Elvis Presley.
Elvis Presley. He and I, never mind. I'm not going to say it. We share something in common, but I'm not going to say it because I don't want to dox myself.
Okay, all right. As well as being the king of rock and roll. Is that what it is?
Nope.
Elvis Presley was the king of UFOs, according to his assistant Larry Geller. Geller said that the two would spend hours sharing their alien sightings stories. Elvis also claimed he shared a telepathic vision with an alien creature when he was 8 years old.
Wow.
Allegedly, the young Elvis saw his future self in a white jumpsuit. What? Geller also claimed that Elvis's dad had seen a UFO on the night of his son's birth. Geller said his father told us he'd gone out to have a cigarette at 2 a.m. during the delivery, and when he
great dad.
And when he looked up into the skies above their little shack, he saw the strangest blue light. He knew right then and there that something special was happening. Like Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, those are some crazy stories.
It is crazy. I just want to point out something that UFO sightings seem to run in families. Have you noticed that, or have we talked about that?
Yeah. And,
so if your mom sees a UFO, you'll see a UFO, or if your grandfather or whatever, it runs in genes. It's interesting.
So, I'm surprised they did not. I have to look this up right now. I'm surprised that article did not talk about Sammy Hagar. He says he was abducted by aliens.
Abducted by aliens.
Yeah, a former lead singer.
That's a step further from our last article.
Well, Kendrick Lamar said he was abducted.
He said, I thought he said he had a strange experience with when he was 6. Isn't that what that last article just said? I don't think he said he was abducted.
Oh. During the interview with Shock, he revealed he thought he was abducted when he was a child, and that the abduction probably gave him the energy. But yeah, I don't think they know. Usually when they're when it happens. So this guy says he was abducted by aliens, Sammy Hagar. Or at least his brain was. In an interview for his new book, Read My Uncensored Life in Rock, Hagar lets go of what even he admits might make him sound like a crazy person. Let's get to the point here.
You know, really quick, that isn't interesting. Like his brain, he said, maybe it was just my brain was abducted.
Yeah,
like, I kind of think that's almost the case in abductions, where you're not physically getting abducted. Well, no, I take that back. I'm thinking of Fire in the Sky guy. I can't remember his name.
Oh yeah. But he goes, it was real. Hagar told the reporter. They were plugged into me. It was a download situation, or they uploaded something from my brain like an experiment. It's just nuts to see all these guys, a lot of these famous guys. Maybe it makes them want to be entertainers or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's
makes them
interesting.
feel chosen in some way, also.
Or if true alien species, they don't see time the way that we do. They're looking at important people.
Well, yeah, they want to go back and see like how they were born or something like that.
Yeah.
So this one's from metro.co.uk. Not sure how credible it is. The truth about aliens could be exposed with one phone call is the title, and it's got King Charles on there. King Charles III has a hotline to the truth about extraterrestrials, apparently. King Charles has a hotline to those who can reveal the truth about aliens and should use it, the UK leading UFO expert says. Nick Pope, who previously ran the UK government's UFO project, has said the king should use his power to compel the US to divulge everything it knows about unidentified flying objects. Unidentified anomalous phenomena.
It's the same thing. We all knew what you meant when you said UFOs.
So the king has a direct access hotline to the top people when he needs it, said Mr. Pope. Now there is something here. I mean, the king obviously he has a keen interest in this, and he talks about. That's how he talks about. Wait, where was it? 2 other witnesses. No, not this one. The king. If the king, no, not this one either. He was supposed to be in some UFO. Man. Oh, here it is. A recent documentary by the same producers as the king of UFOs also alleged the king flew a craft modeled on a crashed UFO in the 1970s. The UFO-type vehicle was saucer-shaped with 3 pilots and 3 individual glass domes designed to protect them from the electromagnetic force given off by the mothership controlling the craft.
Whoa.
Yeah, the presence of UAP is now widely accepted. So he's been in experimental craft before.
I want to become king because I want to fly UFOs.
You see, look, the king is likely already well-versed on all things UAP, given his father, the Duke of Edinburgh, was fascinated by UFOs, compiling a library of books on the subject and regularly asking to be briefed on the latest news. He also subscribed to the journal Flying Saucer Review.
Isn't it a shame that it's only become like a recent thing to like be into UFOs? Like, do you remember how? Yeah. I mean, we've brought it up millions of times already, but it's just such a shame that if you express an interest in UFOs and aliens and all that stuff up until about like 2-3 years ago, well, I guess I don't know, 10 years ago, you were just ridiculed and mocked.
Completely ridiculed. And the arguments I used to get into, like the screaming arguments and just like people laughing. Yeah, it was so stupid. Like, come on.
Yeah, it was dumb.
It is too bad. It was kind of a waste of time because you could have had good conversations instead of defending you being crazy or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the George Knapp files are out. They're on News Nation. They're calling it the UFO Reporter Part 1, the files of George Knapp. Really cool, especially that we get to find out what got George interested in all this. Apparently, it was a flip of a coin to go to Las Vegas, and he was always reporting on the mob there because there's always like mob activity.
Mm-hmm.
And then they talk about like why UFOs, and it was John Lear. Wait, John Lear, right? He's the one who came to his offices and told him about the stealth program, and then he's the one who told him about Area 51. Then Bob Lazar comes in, and since then, it's history. Where is it when what's his name comes in? Is what he asked him.
Sure. These are mostly crime stories. Desert. And it was invisible to radar. That's what our sources had said.
George Knapp's source was this man, John Lear, famed aviator, son of the founder of the Learjet, and soon to be influential in the conversation on UFOs.
VCR, VHS.
Thanks for being here. Okay, George. To begin with, you're a pilot, an airline pilot, captain. You have held 17 different world speed records at one time or another. You're a member of the famous Lear family that all Nevadans are pretty much familiar with.
His father had developed the Learjet, and he had a passion for secret planes. So he and a group of people, they called them the interceptors, would go out into the Nevada desert and would sit outside of Area 51, the Nevada test site, to see what was flying around in the sky.
You don't sound like the kind of guy who would get hooked up in something that a lot of people would say is a bunch of nonsense.
No, it's just by coincidence that I got really interested. This about 2 years ago. My father saw a UFO and my brother did. And one day, John Lear walks into the...
Like you said, it's like in the family.
It runs in the family, yep.
Yeah, either something genetic or they're predisposed to it, or they're not ridiculed about it in the family. That could be it also.
Yeah, that definitely could be it.
News station, this is in 1987, with a stack of documents, UFO documents. And he plops them on Ned Day's desk, and he says, Ned, this is the biggest story you will ever cover in your life. It's about a cover-up of massive proportions. You're going to become famous. You got to do this story. He pushes the documents over, and Ned starts reading them, and he pushes the pile back, and he tells Lear, this can't be true. If this was true, this UFO cover-up, then I'd already know about it. He says, I'm eavesdropping, as I tend to do. And I said, Mr. Lear, let me take a look at that stuff. So I read through it, and at the time, I produced a little talk show, a half-hour public affairs show called On the Record.
Hello and welcome to On the Record.
And it would air on Saturday or Sunday morning at 6 or 7 o'clock. And I said, John, you want to do this show? And I put him on, and I just let him go. I'll give you the bottom line.
Okay,
I'm not trying to sell it.
I want to hear your thesis.
I'm not trying to sell a book. I'm not trying to promote a lecture. This is based on what I've come across after intense research in the last year. And I have found out that the government has retrieved between 10 and 15 actual flying saucers, 3 of which have been in perfect condition, 1 of which they tried to fly. They have between 30 and 50 alien bodies in cryogenic storage. We even have the name of the person whose job it is to show these bodies to the heads of state and the people who are authorized to see them. They represent at least 5 different civilizations.
Okay, you mentioned the saucers and the bodies. Now, what kind of proof do you have that is true? How do you know that?
Well, let me take a look. Let me read to you first what the Air Force says about the bodies. First of all, I'm going to read from the Introductory Space Science, Volume 2, Department of Physics, United States Air Force. This is Chapter 13, Unidentified Flying Objects. Now, this is what the Air Force has the students at the Air Force Academy read. And it says, the most commonly described alien is about 3.5 feet tall, has a round head, arms reaching to or below his knees, and is wearing a silvery spacesuit or coveralls.
What?
It blew me away. It blew away our audience. I didn't know what to make of it, really. And looking back,
They now removed that from the U.S. Air Force textbook, but it was in there.
Mm-hmm. So I know I always bring up movies and TV, but I'm going to do something a little bit different and bring up a book series.
Yeah.
There's a series of books called Area 51 by Bob Mayer.
Oh.
It was my favorite series of books as a kid, even more than Harry Potter.
Really?
But And the guy who wrote them was ex-military. I don't know exactly what branch or where he served or anything like that. I just know he's ex-military. It's crazy though, because a lot of the stuff that he wrote about these are fiction books, by the way.
Right. So wait, where did I put him in the show notes? You said Bob Mayer, Area 51.
Yeah, Mayer. I think he might have been going by a pseudonym in some of his first books. Anyway, or maybe that is a pseudonym. I don't know. But a lot of his books cover it's crazy because as we're going through these episodes, I keep thinking about his books because he covers a lot of the stuff that we're talking about. And I'm starting to think that this was his way of revealing the truth.
Yeah. And I wouldn't mind reading them because a lot of these
they're very, very well, subjective opinion, of course, but I think they're very good.
I wouldn't mind reading them. I usually don't read fiction, but with these types of quote unquote fiction, it's the way that they actually give us the truth.
Yeah,
they quote it in fiction.
I mean, there's a lot of the stuff that he had in his books that we're learning. I mean, these books are a decade old now, older.
Like what, early 2000s?
I think so. There's like 9 or 10 of them. They're really good.
Very cool. Yeah,
there's like the stuff where he, what's his name? Neil. What was his name? Who's the guy we're just listening to?
Oh, Lear.
Lear.
Yeah.
Lear. The stuff where he said they recovered crafts and they flew one of them. I mean, that's literally in one of the books.
No shit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna give him a listen. I like these. They always. It's just a legal way to disclose information. They do it in many different industries. It's not just with this subject. So yeah, I'm very interested in it.
But what was I going to say? Well, I was just thinking, I used to, after I would read one, I'd ask, excuse me.
Yeah.
I'd ask my mom to, go buy the next one,
That good, huh?
Yeah.
So, all right, 10 of them. Are they big books?
Yeah, I mean, they're, big-ish.
Like
it's
what,
not like the Stand, huh?
Well, I asked that because some Harry Potter books are ridiculous, like 800 pages. Like, it's crazy.
I'd say they're about equal to book 3 of Harry Potter. I honestly don't know. I'm taking a wild guess here.
All right, you did send me this one. We talked about MH370 last week, but apparently now the guy is in jail or something.
Yeah, the guy who released this footage.
Yeah, so let's quickly listen to this. It was deleted off Reddit, so I found it again because the original URL you sent me was deleted.
Shoot, really?
I think they were talking about this one.
Why are they filming? To me, it shows a lot of intent. Is that this was either a situation where they intercepted this plane because the plane went dark, and in a post 9/11 world, there's no chance that they're not going to track it. So it seems to indicate that whoever is filming this, they knew that this event was about to happen. So in my mind, it only left 2 possibilities. Either this is some type of espionage scenario, or they're trying to save this plane and they're recording the event of how they're saving the plane, which to me was a huge mistake and a huge risk, because look what happened. The footage got leaked to the world, and now we potentially have the capability to, disclose this information to the world, and it might prove that there's a reverse engineering program consistent with what whistleblower David Grush told the Congress under oath.
Yeah. So wait, so that's the guy that got caught? This guy that he's interviewing?
I don't know. I mean, I only know, what I could find from the Reddit posts. But if it's been deleted, I can't tell you anything else. Sorry.
So Ashton Forbes, this is the Leto Files. He's known too. He's a ex-U.S. Air Force guy. He's got a YouTube channel. Ashton made a post about this last week. No, this man is not Regicide Anon, but he possibly is the person who gave the videos to Regicide Anon. I will say the story does seem to add up quite a bit. Here's a link to the X thread. So who put the thread on X? Oh, Ashton Forbes. We are following him. So he goes, the evidence that Agent 370, MH370 video leaker, is Lieutenant Commander Edward C. Lynn. Preface. I searched every person in charge with espionage until I came across Edward Lin. He checks every box. Okay, so they're trying to find who got reprimanded by the government, basically, for espionage. Below are excerpts from all the articles I could find on the case online. So this guy is a signals intelligence officer, SIGINT, aboard U.S. Navy Lockheed Martin EP-3E Ares 2 reconnaissance aircraft, is facing several charges, including espionage. Lin has been held in pre-trial confinement of the service since his arrest on September 11th, 2015. Lin, a Taiwanese American, probably that's why, who has been a U.S. citizen for nearly 2 decades, remains locked up in the Chesapeake brig, charged with espionage and attempted espionage, charges that could result in a life sentence. All right, so why are they thinking a heavily redacted 3-page charge sheet? High-level clearance, signal intelligence, Navy's most sensitive. Okay, so they're thinking this guy leaked.
Well, and it says, hold on, scroll up just a little bit. Lin had a security clearance higher than top secret, and had access to some of the Navy's most sensitive secrets. At the time of his arrest, he was working for an airborne signals exploitation squadron called Special Project Squadron 2. Wow, that's so dumb. It's a dumb name.
All right, so he knew some of the Navy's most sensitive secrets, Navy's black program portfolio. He had access to that. His latest station duty was Special Projects Patrol Squadron 2 in Kinohi Bay, Hawaii, from February 2014 to March 2016. The arrest also followed several meetings with an undercover FBI agent who operated under the alias Catherine Wu. Over a series of meetings from August to September in 2015, Lin told the agent general details of his secretive unit, Special Projects Patrol Squadron 2 Wizards. The Wizards, based at Marine Corps Air Station Kanohi, Hawaii, use specialized signal intelligence aircraft to collect data on potential U.S. adversaries as part of one of the most secretive units in the service. All right, so
there's a lot here. I recommend our listeners go and read this tweet or X, whatever the hell it's called now.
X, yeah, formerly Twitter, formerly known as Twitter. I just found the redacted charging documents, as the article states that they are heavily redacted. I read it all and can't tell what the details are. It's not really a thread, but okay, it's a long.
It just seems like the MH370 footage that came out. There might be something to it, which is scary. Very scary.
And what people are basically they're trying to find. If this stuff was really leaked, whoever leaked it is going to get in trouble. So they're trying to find someone that fits the bill of that. Who would be that someone would have leaked it and who got in trouble for it? So researchers are trying to say it's this Lin guy. Yes, no, we don't know. Unfortunately, when we live in a national security state like this, we have to rely on what we can get our hands on.
Exactly.
Speaking of transparency, Arrow released their unclassified report this week, October 17th, 2023. That was 5 days ago. And there's nothing in there.
You read through it, right?
I read through it, and there's nothing new. Again, just focusing on what is it from 2022 to now. So there's nothing in the past. But so orbs and spheres is 25% of what's reported. Rectangles 2%, triangles only 1%, irregular shapes 6%, disc is 2%. That should be under. Oh, okay. Cylinder 1%, oval 1%, not reported, which means what? Lights.
I didn't read this, so I don't understand any of it. The triangles thing makes no sense to me because we've even played video clips on this show of many triangle UFOs.
Yeah, and here's the altitudes. A lot of them are at over 20% are almost at a commercial air flight. So they're 20K. 25K is at 20%, and then it drops. So it's mostly around 20K to 25K when these things are seen, altitude-wise. They're seen on coastlines and where the U.S. is active. But yeah, there was nothing in here. From the community, Richard Geldreich, he said, the way we turn the tables on Kirkpatrick and Arrow is knowing our history much better than them. We know about the Blue Book sham. We know about Edward Toss, the flawed 1953 Robertson panel, etc. We've preserved all this history and can search it instantly now. And he's right. We don't really need Arrow.
Yeah, seriously.
We kind of need them for the censors if they ever use it in the right way.
They won't. It's the government.
It's too bad. It really is too bad. But it's not a surprise. And then stuff like this. This is old. This was leaked. I don't know when. Maybe 10 years ago. But it's Defense Intelligence Agency.
The DIA.
Yes. This is a classified ultra top secret. Now they're saying it's read and destroy. This is about Area 50. Majestic 12. It's an introductory to someone coming into Majestic 12 just to get caught up. So this is a leaked document.
Real quick, those books I mentioned earlier by Area 50, the Area 51 books.
Yeah.
MJ12 plays a big part in that. This is what I'm saying. He brings up so much of this stuff. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that when I first saw that it said ultra top secret, I'm like, there's no ultra top secret. But it's cool because here it tells you about that. It's saying that ultra top secret, here it writes, ultra top secret classification utilized in this briefing paper is a Defense Intelligence Agency Pentagon designation. Other agencies and or departments of the various military and executive divisions will use another form of security level. Exactly. So here he says that if you're from the Department of the Army, it's top secret. I don't know if this is red one. Department of the Air Force, top secret, S whatever, top secret, SCI. So yeah, so this makes this document even more relevant when I saw it. Yeah, so it starts at Roswell, goes through the entire history. It's not very legible, obviously, but again, a great read. It's about 48 pages and goes through Operation Majestic 12. It talks about the Aztec UFO that crashed, talks about Roswell, talks about even the aliens and interviews with them. And then it does end with the agreement with the aliens and abductions. So that's why actually I downloaded it. But then it's supposed to be the final 10 pages about that.
Yeah, you should definitely hold on to this. This might become super important in the next couple. Whatever.
Yeah, and who knows? They might scrub these. So these all should be downloaded. People should just download all these.
Yeah.
A lot of things are going from the internet. It's very hard for me to find things now that I used to find easily before.
Yeah, the internet's a much different place than it was 20 years ago.
It is. Either people are not renewing or it's just being suppressed. I mean, we all know that Google and these search engines can suppress easily now. So yeah, so this was an interview with the EBE. Where was the agreement? Something with the agreement that they can't have humans for more than 48 hours, but they can still abduct us, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's the man. Why can't I remember anything when I'm on mic?
You got it last time. Yeah, the one, the Eisenhower one, not Gaia.
Yeah. That agreement, but the aliens keep breaking it over and over again.
Who's going to stop them? I think that's why also they don't tell us. They have no control over them.
It's not the Pleiadian agreement. Pleiadians are the aliens.
It's something close to that, yeah.
The Gaeta Treaty.
Gaeta Treaty, you got it.
There it is. Eisenhower gave them, supposedly gave them the right to abduct certain amount of humans. Over a certain amount of time. I don't know if it's by year or month or whatever, but they kept taking more and more and more.
And what did they get from it? I mean, what did we get from it? Technology? That was the deal?
Yeah, that was the agreement. Supposedly that's how we got Wi-Fi, if I'm remembering the story right.
Hey, can it read to me? Because I mean, this is super hard to read, but if it can read to me, read aloud.
Let's just We're at an hour and a half. Let's move on to the next thing.
Yeah. Sorry, no, I meant for myself later on today. I would actually write. I would like to, but look, it says read it aloud. So yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll put on my headphones and just.
There you go.
Just have it read to me. Hey, what the hell's going on here? All right, there we go. So yeah, I would recommend downloading it because something like
it's gonna be disappeared from the internet here shortly.
Yeah, it is. And then AJ and the Y-Files covered the electric universe theory.
I was really hoping you were gonna bring this up. This is great.
Yeah, so you told me about it last night, and then I woke up this morning like, oh, I missed the whole AJ thing. Electric universe. We talk about electric universe a lot on this show. And so it's really cool they tackled it. Honestly, I listened to it last night and I fell asleep to it. And then I heard it again this morning, but not all of it. So I do want to listen to the whole thing. But at the end here, you told me at the end he goes off. Is this the last 10 minutes you said?
I roughly, we might have to skip around a little bit. I can.
Yeah, we will. But yeah, I mean, so do you think this is the right place? Like, he probably talks about science, suppression of science, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, hit play. Let's see where we're at.
Okay.
Had been on the top of the bestseller list for something like 11 weeks. And nonetheless, the publisher was so mortally wounded, is the only word, by the turning away of salesmen from the doors of professors' studies and all of the implications that went with this, that the book was transferred to another publisher which was willing to take it over, which, after all, is a fairly extraordinary thing.
Velikovsky's ideas were too dangerous. We had to be protected from disinformation. So poof, the book is gone. And look.
Oh, Velikovsky's book. Really?
No,
I didn't know.
Keep going. Keep going.
Okay.
Velikovsky was probably wrong about everything. The comet, Venus, Saturn, the electric sun, all of it. Probably all wrong. But it's okay to be wrong. That's how we find out the truth. In the words of a great scientist, science is a self-correcting process. To be accepted, new ideas must survive the most
rigorous standards of evidence and scrutiny. The worst aspect of the Velikovsky affair is not that many of his ideas were wrong or silly or in gross contradiction to the facts. Rather, the worst aspect is that some scientists attempted to suppress Velikovsky's ideas.
Yeah.
Scientific ideas must survive the most rigorous standards of evidence or scrutiny. Well, scrutiny means your theory has to withstand aggressive debate. Take climate change.
No such thing.
Well,
don't be a sheep.
The climate is warming up. But is it happening quickly?
No.
I don't know. Some scientists say no. Is there anything humans can do to stop it?
No.
I don't know. Some scientists say no. There are two sides to this scientific debate, but only one side is allowed to be heard. That's not science. That's censorship.
Right.
Now, I don't know who's right. Neither do you. But who cares? I just want to know the truth, don't you?
The suppression of uncomfortable ideas may be common in religion or in politics, but it is not the path to knowledge, and there's no place for it in the endeavor of science.
Now, what about certain...
I mean, he's right. Exactly. And I mean, Velikovsky is one of them. I guess he is the biggest, that's the biggest book of electric universe theory, but it's not like the book.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, people have been talking about like light and electricity as being what the universe is about instead of gravity since the early 1900s, right? Walter Russell. I'm forgetting other names now. There's 2 or 3 other names.
Can you keep playing this clip? Sorry.
Yeah.
Experimental medicines that a lot of us have been taking. Those medications work well for most people, but not all people. But we don't hear much about that. There are 2 sides to this issue as well, but there's no debate allowed. Look, I can't even say the V word on this platform.
Right.
Now, that's not science. That's censorship.
That's what that was our video was that, by the way. Anything else is allowed except that, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted you to keep playing. It says a lot
Science
of
is now used to give more wealth to the wealthy. Science is used to give more power to the powerful.
Yeah.
And science is now weaponized to turn half the country against the other.
Yeah.
Again, I don't care who's right. I just want the truth. But science isn't about truth. Not anymore. Promote the right science and get a book deal, a guest spot on cable news, and highly paid speaking engagements. Promote the wrong science, lose your reputation, lose your career, get deplatformed on social media. What would you choose? So scientists without accepted and conventional ideas stopped asking questions.
And the history of our study of the solar system shows clearly that accepted and conventional ideas are often wrong, and that fundamental insights can arise from the most unexpected sources.
Carl Sagan was correct. Accepted science is often wrong. So here's something to keep in the back of your mind. When there's a mainstream scientific view out there that suppresses debate and censors scientists that disagree, that mainstream scientific view exists for money and for power, not for the truth. And on that, there is no debate.
Woo! Nice, AJ.
I told you he went off, man. I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely
Yeah,
love
nice.
it. Everything
Oh,
you said
beautiful.
there, I totally agree
Beautiful.
with.
Beautiful. Yeah, and unfortunately, especially what happened after COVID. Yeah, like why sit there and suppress? Like debate, But no, like you said, it serves the powerful and it serves the people who want to make more money, and that's why they suppress ideas.
Yeah, it's crazy we've gotten here as a society. Okay, so I guess we're wrapping up because you're going to play the funny clip now. I sent you two, and one of them was too gross.
It's way too raunchy. I mean, we could play at some point.
No. I agree.
I mean, these guys have good cameras. So this is like 9 years ago. Like it's good quality. Like the way they set up everything. This way is hilarious and ominous in that way. And the doctor in the background. I mean, and we'll see now he's using the antibacterial cream like it's COVID. But this is old.
Yeah, this is like a decade old at this point. It's so dumb, but I can't stop laughing at this clip or this short film or whatever the fuck it is.
All right, should I play it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Dr. Brackett, the fappers are here to...
Looking at the log comedy is like awkward silence.
Okay.
The way he waves his hands
to dry them.
Dr. Brackett, the fappers are here to... Fappers! Mr. and Mrs. Faffa, Dr. Brackett is ready to see you now.
Oh, hello. How you doing? We are the Faffers. I am Turtler Faffer III.
Hi.
And this is my wife, Lillian. Lillian? Lillian.
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 Lillian, so nice to meet you.
It's close.
Well, we must be some sort of fellowship of the bad names of the rings here. My name is Dr. Brackett.
My wife here used to have the worst maiden name before we got married. It's so bad that I have forgotten what it was. What was it again, honey?
Shunt.
Oh, no.
Lillian Fagunanan Shunt. It's upsetting. Uh-oh. Here he goes. Get it all out.
Well, my middle name is Bragerger. Please have a seat.
Please have a seat. He just wrote his hand out.
And no, I mean aptitude. It's to test how much monk and
Oh,
your
I'm sorry.
son
I was
is or is
talking.
not.
Back it up. I'm going to cut that.
Wait here.
Right there.
So we received your son's aptitude test.
You mean
back,
aptitude.
And no, I mean aptitude. It's to test how much monkin your son is or is not, and he got a raisins.
And that is
a test result. He's got a full set of gums. He's got spine from crack to shoulders. He's got 2 arms and 2
legs. Legs.
2
legs.
2 legs. We painted his toenails.
What?
Anyways, let's get back to the test results.
Yes, please.
Oh my god.
What's that?
Oh my god.
What is that?
Did I let go of my poker face? The results are both shitty and horrifying.
So what's the deal? Is he a Riri? The toy?
No. When you mean doy, do you mean sort of like oh, Gilbert, Gilbert, yes. Oh, I got a front tail, Gilbert. Oh, it's so soft. But then man, Beth coughs, and then she talk. Oh, make it all hard. That is what I mean. He's not one of those.
Is he one of those browns that has been painted white?
There was a time that we thought that maybe that was the case. And so we scrubbed him and 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 scrubbed him. And I gave him a splishy splash of bleach. Then we had a legitimate brown come in from the street. And he scrubbed him, scrubbed him, scrubbed him, scrubbed him, scrubbed him, scrubbed him and scrubbed him, scrubbed him, scrubbed him, scrubbed him. And we found out that it was not the case.
He's pink.
Vividly pink.
All right, Dr. Braggett, how about we get this show on the road here?
Oh, now before we get into how you are a slave to your son, you've ever seen the film Life is a House?
I love that movie.
Well, the shitfuck idiot who made Life is a House is wrong because life is a boat. And your son is now sort of an anchor on your lifeboat. And before we get into why, please call me by my full name, Dr. Pepper Braggett.
So what, your first name's Pepper?
I'm sorry, did I switch from English to fat asshole Chinese? My full name is Dr. Pepper Braggett.
Okay, Dr. Pepper Braggett. What's wrong with our son?
Let's give a chickadee chick to the testy test results. He doesn't not have worms for eyes.
That means nothing.
He doesn't have worm for eyes.
What's wrong with our son?
Before I get into how your dreams are over, you know how you want to be a singer. I can tell by how big and wide your throat is.
I do.
None of that's going to happen. And your son is the reason why. And before I get into the specific, exact, real reason why your son is at fault for this, please call me by my nickname. Good guy. You bitch.
20 minutes later.
Is it guns?
I can see how you think it's guns, but actually it's good. Go.
All right. Well, it's clear you've been wasting our time, and we've been wasting your time, and we wasted all these people's time, and young little Dirk's time too.
I'm really sorry.
So we're just.
Oh my god, dude! These people are crazy. How do you even find them?
Well, so that's Murder Fist. They're a comedy troupe. But the doctor is played by Henry Zabrowski, who's he's one of the guys that started last podcast on the left.
Oh, okay. All right.
And so I just, I like when I get interested in something, I dig into them, and I found Murder Fist. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
How big is the channel? If they
it's not that big, and I think they've stopped working together at this point.
14.3 thousand subscribers, but yeah, probably a lot of people came here after the podcast, right?
Yeah, exactly.
82,000 views this one. Henry is the funniest person on this planet.
The part where he goes, he says we did it one of those tests for Munkin, and and he goes, well, what was the result? And he goes, raisins. That's my favorite.
Like, what does even that mean?
It's a test result.
Oh my god, dude! These sketch comedies. I mean, the reason why they're so ridiculous is because they are,
Mm-hmm.
and so he never made it to like Saturday Night Live or any of these things.
If I remember correctly, he tried out for whatever it's called. He tried out for Saturday Night Live, and didn't make it. But his humor is way too crude for SNL, unfortunately. Because I sent you, we talked about that other clip I sent you, and
oh my, yeah, he's really nuts in that one. I mean, it's hilarious, but it's too raunchy.
Yeah, there's one skit they do where it's a KKK meeting, and they keep going like, well, what about like Will Smith? Like, oh no, I like him. I like his movies. All right, so we can't kill Will Smith. And they keep going through all these black people that they like, and they go, all right, well, we can't kill any of these black people, so let's just hate one white person instead. It's such a funny progression.
Let's just hate the white person.
Yeah, they end up, the KKK ends up hating one white person, and that's it.
And ain't that the truth though? What happens?
Yeah.
Well, we were able to like not cover Israel Palestine, which is, I think we did a good job there for us and for our audience. You know, we need to get away from that crazy conflict that's going on.
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna be freaking talking about it. The whole country's gonna be talking about it here for the next few weeks anyway.
Yeah, especially now that we're spending hundreds of billions of dollars again. You know, now they've united the left and the right to loot the treasury in agreement. So both are in agreement to loot the treasury now. We got a Ukraine and Israel package going out of $100 billion. Nothing.
Woohoo!
Yeah, real cheap. You know, real cheap.
Hey, remember all those people in Hawaii that lost their homes?
Oh yeah. It sucks. It totally sucks. What's going on? And now, you know, but see, there's a lot going on in this world, and you know, someone came out and high in the U.S. government and admitted that again that we have flying saucers, and fine, he didn't admit really much of anything, but usually these people in these positions don't come out and say these things, and haven't in the past. So it's something new, at least. Arrow came out with this report, which was a nothing burger. It was a lot of signings that we went over to. So at least, you know, we can focus on this subject and not get distracted, because I think people like Burchett and Luna and Gates and people we have in Congress and in the Senate and Schumer, you know, we need to keep them focused on this disclosure. Every time we get a breakthrough, something happens like this, you know. The last time, was Stephen Greer's disclosure project. And when that happened, you know, a month later, 2001, the 9/11 attacks happened. And then we've been at war since then. And then Trump comes into office, and this effort starts in 2017. And then, you know, and now even under Biden, and the deep state is back basically doing its stuff. And we still have momentum on this subject, on disclosure. And Biden's going to sign. And now this happens, you know, which is distracting us and the government again. It's just so weird that whenever something's going to come out.
Just thinking about Biden, this is probably going to, I know I love to say things are going to cancel us, but this might. Have you seen the different pictures or angles of Biden's chin?
What the hell is that? Yeah, his chin, his ears, his face in general. Like does he have like 5 body doubles or
Or he's just getting like plastic surgery like 24/7. I don't know what the hell is going on with that.
Like Michael Jackson had that issues where it was like looked like his face was melting.
Well, Michael Jackson had some different issues.
I mean, yeah, but you know what I mean. Like he had no nose. Apparently, he had to put a nose in there. But he had so many plastic surgeries where people said it looked like his face was melting.
And he fucked all those kids.
Oh my god. So maybe it was out of sinful guilt.
He took too much adrenochrome.
Yeah, yes, too much adrenochrome. Speaking of, Michael Flynn came out saying the Q is not a real thing. He pushed Q when he was, years ago. He's one who's always pushing Q. All of a sudden, he comes out saying it's not true. Yeah, thanks. After what? You know, after people said, "Oh, not to do anything, trust the plan." You know,
I love when people they cause a problem and then like way too late they come out and either apologize or say, "Oh, I didn't do that" or something. You know what I mean?
Way too late. Yeah. It happens in war all the time, in the fog of war. Oh, we didn't actually do that. We were lying then.
So dumb.
It is so dumb. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot going on this week now. There's the invasion going on. We'll try again not to cover too much of it next week. I'd rather some new stuff happen in this field, UAP and UFOs, and that effort there, you know. So, but yeah, everyone just hang in there. Be strong. Don't believe every word you hear. Don't be with the oppressors. Be with the oppressed. For
and just
God's sake.
No matter what anyone's background is, whether it's race or religion or whatever, be kind to one another.
Yeah.
There's no purpose in hating someone just because they exist. I mean, it's okay to be mad at someone for wronging you, but you don't have to hate them. And you don't have to hate people you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, life is too short. This planet is beautiful. It's a gem we have here. We're lucky. We're lucky we're alive, and life doesn't have to be that way for other people. Like, have some empathy. I can't believe it's 2023 and people are still being oppressed and treated like, like subhumans. It should not be going on anymore.
Yeah, and a call to violence against any one group of people is wrong, no matter what.
Yeah, and everyone gets riled up so easily. Before it was like, no, we're not sending money into Ukraine. It's not our war. And then when this happens, the same people who said that switch. The same people who are like for protests against against mandates and jab mandates and mask mandates, all of a sudden are against protests, for anti-war protests. So it's just all weird. Everyone's a hypocrite. It's crazy when it's their team. All of a sudden everything goes out the window.
Yeah, we've truly turned this country into a team, different teams, and it sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. And AJ pretty much spoke about it too. How governments weaponize things to turn half the population on the other, and it just happens so much.
Yeah,
but we like to stay positive. There's a lot, like we covered. There's a lot of good stuff going on in the UFO world, and our disclosure efforts, and we'll keep covering it. We'll keep watching what's happening also in the Middle East, and if it spills over to other areas,
we'll cover it.
Yeah, we'll cover it, just not obsessively.
All right. Well, we want to thank all of you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. That is I Want to Believe Adam, and he's going to tell us where you can find us on social media.
Yeah, you can find us on Twitter. We're pretty reactive, responsive there. We're the handle is UAP the podcast, and also we're on Rumble and on YouTube at Uncovering Anomalies Podcast. So yeah, watch us there. Watch us on Spotify, Apple, Google, most major platforms. And yeah, we make it a point to be here every week covering all UFO news, UAP news. Let us know what you guys want us to cover. If there's a certain one you want us to do a deep dive. But other than that, that's everything.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your feedback. I'm tippity toppity tired talking Topher. And thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you all next week.
Mm.